Hi, this is Eric Ream and Trace Hahn, and we're going to show you how to install the batteries inside of your new EcoRev unit. So it'll just start up and start sensing and start gathering data. You'll need some tools to start with. To open this case, you'll need a 13/16 socket. You'll need a 9/64 hex driver and a 7/64 hex driver. Of course, you'll need the eco unit that we sent you, as well as the battery pack that we sent you in a separate mailing, and of course then a dozen batteries, and I think we sent you 2 dozen batteries, lithium batteries. I lined them all up so the positive is pointing to the left. When we took apart this battery container, it just unscrews, and I also took off the O-rings, which just basically keep the batteries from rattling around. To open it up, I just twisted it open. Notice that it has a guide pin, and there is also a guide hole upon reassembly that we're going to put them in. So I'm just going to line these up. Of course, positive up, essentially 2 per thing, positive down, positive up, positive down, positive up, positive down. So now the battery container is complete with alternating positive and negative on the top. We're going to make sure that we line up this pin with the guide hole here. It can be a little tricky to get it just right. But when you do that, you'll see that it just screws in really nicely with no thread lock, or you won't feel like the threads are off. It's a little bit tight. It doesn't have to be super tight because this is in a waterproof container. I'm just going to put these O-rings on again just to give it, make sure that the batteries don't rattle around at all. All right, so we've got a battery container that's ready to go. Notice there's a little flip up handle, and that's what we're going to use to put it in, and of course that's what you can use to pull it out. Just in advance, just so that I can show you, this is the 7/64 hole. That's what we're going to use to screw it down once it's inside the thing, and I'll let Trace take it from here. I just did want to show you also that I am grounded. That's a good thing to do. Not 100% necessary, but it's a good practice with any electronic instrument. So Trace, you get to wear the bracelet.
Right, so next thing is to take the 9/64 ball driver hex head and remove the 2 screws on the side of the instrument. So there's one 180 degrees from this one. There's no need to remove these top ones here. We want to leave those in fact. Remove the second one. And it's always a good idea to, if this purge port is in, pop it out so that we can release vacuum and remove the cap. So then you take the 13/16 ratchet and rotate the
Clockwise.
cap clockwise. So rotate it. You can see here that enables the use of the ramps to help pop the end cap off. So you just pull the end cap off and unplug this guy here and take your battery, and if you can see inside of here, let's see, it's kind of difficult to see, but there is an alignment pin that coincides with this hole in the battery of the battery assembly. So you line that up with the pin, and if you're not lined up right away, you can rotate it and you can push it and you'll feel it lock in. So
There's a little pop.
Yeah. So then the next step is to put the end flange on, And what I found the easiest was to grab it with 2 fingers, but you can see on this, let me get a little zoom in on here, there's a radius on this plug that lines up with the radius inside of here. And we want to match that radius and just
Oops. Do we want to screw it in first?
Sorry. Yeah,
Yep.
we do want to tighten this guy up right here.
That's your 7/64.
7/64, and just tighten it up snug. Then you're ready to plug it in. So just take, see if I can get a better angle here. So we just take.
This is probably the hardest part.
Yeah, you can see that it's snapped in there.
If you'll rotate the whole instrument 180 degrees, you'll notice that as soon as we plugged in the battery, it started to run. So just rotate it so the camera can see. You can see it blinking. So it's in fact, the auto run is set to 1. So as soon as you pop that battery in, it's running.
Okay, so then for putting the cap on, I just
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, and it's recording too.
Yeah. So for putting the cap on, I just kind of take my finger and just ensure to kind of lay down the wiring right here so it doesn't interfere. And then we just press this in. You can see our ramps are lined up, and then we rotate it to the side to get a view of the threads. And then we want to use the 7/64 to put the screws back in. Oh, sorry, this is the 9/64. Screw those guys back in. Rotate it, get the other one. And then once those are snug, we want to put this port, snap it back in. That's real important. We don't want that out. Okay.
The only thing we haven't shown here is, of course, put the dummy plug back on the end. And I just don't have one right here. But make sure, of course, you put the dummy plug on so that the external connector is connected. If you do want to connect to RS-232 and change something about the set of parameters at this point, you can, but it should be ready to go.
All right.
Thank you.